Hey class, today we're going to save an image from Illustrator as an SVG and put it on a web page. And as a disclaimer, I'll let you know that I'm voicing over a previously recorded video. First step is to go to Window, Asset Export to open up this panel here. And it's handy if you group the asset first, then it will come in as one piece instead of as 30 different pieces. I drag it into the Asset Export window, and the first thing I do is change the name to something meaningful. No spaces, but dashes instead, and only lowercase letters. So I describe it. I'm going to change the format to SVG here, and then I'm going to click Export. And I choose the location, which should be the Images folder of the web page. So here I'm slowly trying to find my root folder, and there's my Images folder. I'll choose it and export. And then I'll go to the Finder and look for that image, and it sort of inconveniently places it in an SVG folder sometimes, so I'll pull it out and put it in the Images folder itself. It has to be on the first level of the Images folder, so there it is. I can throw the SVG folder away because it's empty and it's just in the way. I'm searching for the Move to Trash here. There's my SVG sitting in the Images folder. And now I need to open the whole root folder in brackets. So I have brackets running already, and I drag the root folder on top of the brackets icon. And I can see my image in the folder there. And I look at the code in the index, and here's where my image is supposed to go. If I start typing the name of the image, it suggests that image called Jacko Dog. And then the alternate text, I have to change that to describe the image, so that if a screen reader is reading for someone who's blind, it tells them what the image is, or if the image doesn't show up, it shows in the browser window what image should be there. So there I've got my alternate text typed in. Ooh, very thorough alternate text. Then I want you to go in and change some of the wording in the headlines. So I changed this to reflect that it's an icon of Jack the dog, and then I'm going to highlight some paragraphs. I want you to highlight some paragraphs and describe your icon or your animal, why you made it, how you made it. I've got 2 paragraphs, so you can be real wordy if you want to. Then when I'm done, I think my next step is I'm going to preview it. Oh, I have to save it first, so I save it. And then if you click on this little lightning bolt icon in the upper right, it opens Chrome, and there's my dog on a web page. And now, try to ignore the fact that the colors just changed there. Now what I got to do is change some more type. I have to change this H1. That's the most important headline, so that it reads about what the page is about, Jacko Dog. And then I change this title. That's very important because Google uses that to understand what your page is about. And now when I preview it, you'll see that the title is in the tab, and my H1 changed to whatever I typed in there. So I want you to make those changes too. Now we move into the optional phase, which I think is kind of fun. I go into Illustrator and I start figuring out what my colors are. I click on this background. If I double click the foreground color, it gives me this hex code down here that I can copy. I can go back into brackets and I'll bring up the CSS page, and I can start replacing some of these color names with this hexadecimal code. It has to have a hashtag in front of it. So I type that hashtag and I paste that color in there. I think I hit Command S here, and then I switch to the browser, and you'll see that it changed the type color to match the background of my icon for that H1. And then I just sort of thoughtfully did some other colors. I find the hex code for this color, the light color of his ears, and I copy it. And then I go back into brackets, and I guess that these dot names like dot content, that's a box. I change the background color of that box to this hex code, and then I go back into the browser, and it's sort of like a lottery. I see which box changed, and I think it's the one I meant to change. It's kind of highlighted in blue, so I deselect it here by clicking somewhere else in the CSS, and then I can see it, that it changed that box color to that brown. And now I think I speed up the tape here so that you can see that I just keep going back and forth to Illustrator, and I find colors, and I copy the hex code and I paste it into a different box in the CSS, and I change all those background colors to make it fit my animal icon better. I think it would be fun if you tried that. Don't delete any colons or semicolons or it'll break the CSS code. And then the last thing I do is I go and I check to make sure this is the freshest version of my site in the Finder, and I change the name of the root folder so that it says my last name and then root folder. And then I want you to give me that, put it on the server in my Dropbox, and make sure you give me the whole root folder with the HTML and the CSS and the images folder, and that your image is in there. And I'll give you big points. Thanks, class.